Welcome to another episode of Le Prof, the second football television, brought to you by yours truly, Joe Mateka. And first of all, I'd just like to congratulate the Brazil women national team for winning the Copa Femenina yesterday. They won 1-0 against Colombia. And other than that, I also want to congratulate the Banyana, the South African women football team, for winning the African Women's Cup of Nations. And today we also have another finals. The Lionesses, the England women's national team are playing against Germany, and this is a final. I know that most people are really interested in men's football, but I like to urge everyone to really consider watching women's football. As let's support our women. I know we love men's football, and very many people know much about men's football, but I like to urge everyone to please consider supporting our women and watching some of these matches. Try and pick an interest and try and follow women's football. And I know that the longer you watch the match, you might be interested in women's football. And so, in my today's episode, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, and this topic is the best strikers of all time. I know that uh, the football world has witnessed so many great strikers over the last years, and we all have our opinions of who is the best strikers and maybe which strikers make up the top 10 lists or the top 50 or the top 5 lists. Everyone has their own opinions because football is such an opinionated game, and people seem to appreciate different qualities in different players. There are some who love skills, there are some who love just the team that will just easily win. So in today's video, I'm going to go through the top 10 strikers that I feel like these have been like the best strikers of all time. And I like to know in the comment section maybe if you agree with my lists. And so just starting with the number 10. Number 10, this is a player who I was just out there minding my own business, and I was just trying to think maybe which strikers might make up my top 10 list. And at the back of my mind, I just say that there is no way that this certain player is going to miss out on my list of top 10 strikers. And the name of this striker is none other than Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp, most people remember him. He played for Arsenal. He formed such a great partnership with Thierry Henry when the 4-4-2 formation was very popular. And Dennis Bergkamp also represented his national team, the Dutch national team. There is this famous goal that is scored against Newcastle United that is usually repeated when the English Premier League starts. He received the ball, I think, from Robert Pires, then rounded they, he took a certain touch of the ball, then rounded the defender, then scored such a brilliant goal. And I know that this is one of the best goals that you will ever see in the Premier League. And I thought that he played with so much elegance, grace, character, and that he brought a different kind of energy to the team. When he's with the team, and especially when he scores goal, then you feel like you're so much energized because he scored such beautiful goals. He was not only such a classy player, but he scored beautiful goals, and this is one of the reasons why Dennis Bergkamp makes my top 10 list of the best strikers of all time. And that other than that Newcastle goal, he also scored a hat trick against Leicester. And in 1998, when France hosted the World Cup, he scored such a beautiful goal against Argentina. And that Dennis Bergkamp is a player that I felt like there is no way that Dennis Bergkamp will miss out on my top 10 list of the greatest strikers that I've ever watched. Now then, the number 9 on my list is another great player that played for Real Madrid, and this player is none other than Raul Gonzalez. Raul Gonzalez is the second all-time goal scorer for Real Madrid, having scored 323 goals in 741 appearances, and this makes him to be the most capped player in the history of the club. During his playing career, during his time at Real Madrid, he managed to win 6 La Liga titles, 3 UEFA Champions League, 4 Super Copa de España, 1 UEFA Super Cup, and 2 international cups. And he captained Real Madrid from 2003 to 2010. Then he moved to Schalke 04. And in Schalke 04, he made such an impressive impact in that club that club decided to retire the number 7 shirt, to indefinitely retire the number 7 shirt. And back in the days, most young players can really remember that Raul is really one of the best strikers, and that when many people think of strikers, then Raul Gonzalez is just one name that must come to your mind. And he had to make my top 10 lists. And number 8 on my list is Patrick Kluivert. Patrick Kluivert scored a goal against Brazil in 1994 semi-final to push the game to penalties. The Netherlands almost made it to the World Cup finals. Then he won the UEFA Champions League in 1994-95 season, and then in 95 he won the European Super Cup. During his playing career, he managed to play for Barcelona, Milan, Newcastle United, Valencia, PSV, and Lille. And I think he was part of that young Ajax team that won the Champions League. I think it was against Milan, and this is one of the reasons that Patrick Kluivert makes my top 10 list of the greatest strikers of all time. Number 7 on my list is Andriy Shevchenko. Now, most people remember Shevchenko for Shevchenko is mostly remembered for playing for AC Milan. I thought that he was phenomenal when he was playing for AC Milan, and is one of the reasons why AC Milan won so many Champions League, and one of the reasons why AC Milan was such a dominant force in the European stage. And that Shevchenko also won the Ballon d'Or in 2004, and that he was the leading scorer in 2004 with 28 goals in all competitions, and he also won the Serie A title. I thought that Shevchenko played his best football at AC Milan, but in the summer of 2006, Shevchenko managed to move to Chelsea, and in Chelsea, I thought he played well, but his best football, I believe that his best football was played at AC Milan, and I think that Andriy Shevchenko is also one of the top strikers of all time, and that he had to make my list of the top strikers of all time. Now, number 6 on my list is a player who was really such a incredible player. He played for Manchester United, and this player is none other than English international Wayne Rooney. And Wayne Rooney, if I can just say that, is that I supported Arsenal, and I've always supported Arsenal, and that during those days when Arsenal used to meet Manchester United, there are two players that I was really scared of. and I really felt like my team should really consider doing something against these two players. And these two players are Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo. And especially when they were young, they were really wild, and they I think they were really talented, and when they held the ball, you really just couldn't wait for your defenders to get it from them. And that I thought that Rooney is one of the best players. He scored 4 goals against Arsenal when he was playing for Everton, and that he's Manchester United's all-time goal scorer, having made a record 559 appearances and scoring 253 goals. So when Rooney made his professional debut for Everton at the age of 16 years, then he joined Manchester United in 2004, and Rooney has won it all when it comes to football. He has won the Premier League, the Champions League, the League Cup, the UEFA Europa League, the FIFA Club Cup, and that Rooney is one of the strikers that I had the opportunity to watch him. Those were around the first time that I was really interested in football, and I was really following football. And that Rooney is a player I can say that I have witnessed, watched him play football, and that he was such a top player for Manchester United, and especially when he was young, as I have emphasized, I thought that he was just an incredible talent, and very few defenders could handle him. And that's why he makes my number 6 lists of the best strikers of all time. Now, number 5 on my list is another striker that that has played in the Premier League for also quite some time. He played for Chelsea and the Ivory Coast, and this is none other than Didier Drogba. Didier Drogba was such a nightmare for Arsenal Football Club, as he managed to score very many goals against Arsenal. I guess most of his goals came really against Arsenal, and that he joined Chelsea, and he has managed to play 381 matches for Chelsea and scored 165 goals. He was named the African Footballer of the Year twice, in 2006 and 2009, and that he made it to the African Cup of Nations finals twice, in 2006 and 2012, where they lost to penalties. And Drogba moved to Chelsea in 2004, and that Jose Mourinho, this was the era of Roman Abramovich. He had bought Chelsea, and now Chelsea had resources to change the fortune of their club, and Drogba was one of these names that Jose Mourinho signed at that time, and that he has been an incredible player ever since he was signed for Chelsea, and that he's a club legend. He's remembered as a club legend, and that he also did well on the international scenes, only that maybe he never maybe won the African Cup of Nations. But Drogba was he's one of the best and one of the greatest strikers that I've ever watched, and that he also ran for the Cote d'Ivoire Football Federation presidency, but he came close. He came very close to winning it, and that I know that maybe if he can really give it another try, then maybe he might have a chance of winning it. And that Drogba takes the number 5 position on my top 10 list of the greatest strikers that I've ever watched. Now, number 4 on my list is Cameroon Football Federation President Samuel Eto'o. Samuel Eto'o is mostly remembered for playing for Barcelona. They had this great partnership with Ronaldinho Gaucho, and that Samuel Eto'o has been on the scene for quite some time. I remember when I was young as well, that Eto'o was one of the best strikers that I remembered. I remember him winning the African Cup of Nations in the year 2000. I was very young at that time, and that he has managed to really, he has been consistent, yeah, for quite some time. And that just like I've said, I think that he played his best football for FC Barcelona, and he has won it all as well. Samuel Eto'o has won it all: La Liga, African Cup of Nations. He won it twice, in 2000 and 2002, and the FIFA Club World Cup in 2010. He won the Champions League in 2006 against Arsenal, and with Barcelona as well. And with Barcelona in 2006, and with Inter Milan in the 09-010 season. And that Samuel Eto'o has been around for quite some time, and I think that he's one of the most phenomenal strikers, and that he managed to represent quite a number of clubs. Barcelona, he won so many, like everything at Barcelona. Then Pep Guardiola came to Barcelona, and something happened. He had to leave Barca. He moved to Inter, joined Jose Mourinho at Inter, and at Inter as well, he managed to prove that he's one of the best strikers, as he won the Champions League. And I think that he has managed to prove himself in different leagues, in La Liga, in Serie A. And remember also, he joined Chelsea. He played for Chelsea. Remember that he played for Chelsea, and that he has proved that he can really play in any league, and that's why Samuel Eto'o takes the fourth position on my top 10 list of the greatest strikers that I've ever watched. Now, the third player on my list is a player who is still playing at the age of 40. And this player has been around for quite some time, for the longest time possible. And this player is none other than Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now, an interesting story about Zlatan Ibrahimovic is that he once came to Arsenal for trials at Arsenal when he was young, and that an interesting story about it is that he turned down the trials. Is that I think his famous words was that Zlatan doesn't do any trials. You either sign him or not, and that I think he has lived to that. I think that kind of attitude, but I think he has lived to that kind of attitude. He has showed that he has proved that he's one of the best strikers, and that imagine Arsenal could have signed Zlatan at that time, and I think that if we had signed Zlatan, then I don't know what would have happened, but I think that we would have dominated the EPL, and I think he's one of the best strikers, and that's why he makes my number 3 lists. And at Inter Milan, he managed to win 3 consecutive titles with Inter Milan. During his playing career, he played for Ajax, Juventus, Inter Milan, Barcelona, AC Milan, PSG, Manchester United, and that he has managed to play for like the biggest clubs across Europe, and that he's still playing at the moment. He's still playing at AC Milan, and that he's one of the best players. He's technically good. He's ball control. He's scored such beautiful goals. And that I think Zlatan is also one of the greatest strikers never to have won the UEFA Champions League. But yeah, I think Zlatan takes the 3rd position on my list. Yeah, Zlatan takes the 3rd position on my list. And the number 2 on my position, and I was really tempted to either give him the 1st position, or the player that is the 1st position. And that this player is none other than Thierry Henry of Arsenal. And I know that Thierry Henry of Arsenal is not only the best striker to have ever played in the English Premier League, but he's also the best player to have ever played in the English Premier League. And that That's why he takes the second position on my list, and that it was very close. I think that it was very close between him and the player that I'm going to mention at my number one position, and that Thierry Henry, all the defenders can testify that he's just been one of the best, and that he won the World Cup in 1998. He was managed to win Premier League titles, the FA Cup, and he was part of that Invincibles team that went the whole season unbeaten. And that he moved to Barcelona, won the Champions League in 2009 and 2011. And that you can also, and if you can also remember that just that around the time France won the World Cup in 2012, they managed to win the Euros, and it was part of that. It was part of that French team that won the Euros in 2000, and that's Thierry Henry is best, mostly remembered for his pace. He had such a blistering pace that could really punish any defender. Sometimes he never really needed to dribble to get past a player. You don't need to knock the ball a little bit further past the defender, then run at the ball and pace. He had such a his understanding of football was great, and that he was such a clinical finisher, and that I think that it is terrible. I think that it is terrible that Thierry Henry has never managed to win the Ballon d'Or, because his performances over his playing time, I think that maybe they should have considered him for the Ballon d'Or. And he's a two-time Premier League title in 01, 02, 2001 and 2002, and he also managed to win it in 2003 and 2004. 2003 and 2004 is around the time Arsenal went the whole season unbeaten. Then he won the Player of the Season in 2003 and 2004, and in 2005 and 2006, and he also won the Golden Boot. Being a top striker, these are those strikers that are called 20 goal a season striker. 20 goal is like usually the standard that most the football industry usual set, that if a striker can get past 20, then there's such a huge chance that he might win the Golden Boot. And he won the Golden Boot in 2001, 2002 season, 2003, 2004, 2004 and 5, and 5 and 6. And I think this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 seasons in a row. He managed to win the Golden Boot like 4 seasons in a row. And I think that this is one of the reasons that made Thierry Henry to be such a brilliant striker. And that's why he makes my number 2 of the best strikers of all time. Now, before I mention the first player on my list, I'd just like to give a shout out, or to give some honorable mentions, and that these are players who I feel like they're incredible as well, and that my honorable mentions goes out to David Trezeguet. I thought was incredible. Del Piero, Adriano had such a, I think he was touted as one of the replacements for Ronaldo. Then something happened with his dad. I think he lost his dad. Then he couldn't cope with football. He succumbed to alcoholism and drugs, and he was never the same player again. And I thought that Adriano was also one of the best strikers, and I think that's just another story that maybe you might be interested in. Andy Cole, David Villa was incredible for Barcelona and the Spanish national team. Fernando Torres, Luis Suarez is still playing. I thought that Luis Suarez is also one incredible. Diego Forlan, remember Diego Forlan? I think he played his last World Cup in the 2010 in South Africa. Then Gabriel Batistuta. Do you remember Gabriel Batistuta? He played for Argentina for quite some time, and I think is one of the strikers that I remember. at that time, Gabriel Batistuta. Then we have Okocha and Ruud van Nistelrooy of Manchester United. We also had Inzaghi and Francisco Totti. And Francisco Totti has played for only one club for his whole entire lifetime. I think that he's loyal. He couldn't leave Roma, maybe for some certain reasons, but I think that Totti was one of the best strikers as well. And that the list can go on and on. But we have to stop at somewhere because we witnessed so many incredible strikers, but I'll just stop at that and mention my number one player, the player that tops my list, and this is none other than Ronaldo of Brazil. Now, Ronaldo of Brazil, he won the best FIFA men's player 3 times. Is a 2-time Ballon d'Or winner. He won the World Cup twice in 1994 and 2002. And I think that Ronaldo is also one of the best players to have never won, one of the best players to have never won the Champions League. In the 2002 World Cup, he managed to finish as the highest goal scorer with 8 goals. And another interesting story about Ronaldo of Brazil is that he suffered one of the most terrible injuries ever witnessed in the football and the reason why Ronaldo makes my number one list is that he was an incredible player before the injury, and that even after the injury, it never prevented him from becoming a top player. And this is one of the reasons why Ronaldo makes my number one list of the best striker, is that he overcame that challenge and that still managed to perform well for both club and country. And this is one of the reasons why Ronaldo tops my number one list of the greatest strikers of all time. Now, I just like to tell everyone everything that currently at the moment I'm giving writing a chance, and I have a blog, leprof2nd tv.blogspot.com, and that you can also follow me on Twitter at Joe19AFC, where I usually post so what I write on my blog, I usually post it on Twitter. And that if you want to read the latest from my blog, I just like to urge everyone to follow me on Twitter at Joe19AFC, and you'll read the latest from my blog. And that's just a reminder again to urge everyone to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and that help me grow my channel. And that thank you everyone for your time, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.